Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Yakuza, the podcast. I am Drunken Dan.
I'm trained no Sabo this week. You know,
Yeah,
I think
I had internet issues, and I couldn't record on the usual day, so Sabo's dead.
on the bright side, I think Jontron watches our stuff.
Why do you say that?
Because he come out with a video about Soldier Boy's new games console.
Wait, he made a second video? Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
I saw it in my related things for some reason. Even though I'm pretty sure I've not watched the Jontron video in when did he leave Game Grumps?
That's been a while. That's a good couple of
Yeah,
years.
I mean, leave.
Actually, what's funny is he actually wasn't even on Game Grumps for a year.
Yeah, I know.
I learned, which is interesting.
Leaving a year before they had their, as of now, undetailed split. Actually, that reminds me. You remember Super Best Friends?
Yeah.
They split up now.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, like only the other day, the 16th, I think they did it. They put out a video saying, yeah, Matt and Pat aren't friends anymore.
You know, I'm kind of not surprised.
I'm not, but I did think at least they had the decency to be honest about to like be open up front about it and just say, yeah.
Oh, you mean that they're just honest about it? You like that?
Yeah, that they just said, yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm fine with
we're
that.
done. We're not going to do this. We're just going to do our own separate things now. And it's like, well, that's better than how some of the other YouTube breakups been handled.
You mean where they kind of keep it hush-hush?
Or they keep it hush-hush until or they just go fucking crazy. So Game Grumps and Completionists were all very hush-hush until, oh look, Completionist blew out of control.
Well, yeah, because, what was it, Greg? Well, that was his name, right, Greg?
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, he, so I knew more of the details because I know somebody who knows things. So I kept my mouth shut about it, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut about what I know. But, like, I knew that Greg was a piece of shit. So, in the back of my head, I knew it was only a matter of time before, like, he wasn't making money, and he was going to come swinging for cash. Because, like, he kind of disappeared. Like, he was around, but nobody really cared after he left. About him, specifically. So,
I mean, he had no presence, really, that's the thing. Gerard still maintained the channel and was still doing content, so...
He was still the face. Like, yeah, he was the comic relief, but that was really
But,
it.
like, after the split, Greg didn't do anything. It's like, he stayed on Twitter and, like... Fuck it, most people are on Twitter and nobody's that interested. You know, you can have all the Twitter followers in the world, but it doesn't actually change anything, because...
Doesn't bring in money.
Well, because all it means is it just means that some people that you're going to get lost in everyone else's like Twitter feed, because I guess what everyone's following everyone else for some baffling reason.
Yeah.
Twitter is literally for people who have nothing of interest to say.
Like I get like the people that wanted to keep it hush. Like the Greg one spilled out finally. I'll give credit. The Jontron ones and the Aaron one's been kind of quiet. We still don't know 100% like what happened there, though we have theories and rumors and shit.
I'm guessing the general theory is Jontron was insufferable.
I mean, probably. There's a number of them, but honestly, I would bet on Jontron being an insufferable little prick.
I mean, he's hardly done himself any favors since then.
Yeah, and like the other people that like Aaron's brought in haven't like run out of the room screaming. So, like I'm not like a big fan of him, but like just looking at what we've seen and just like the patterns, I would say probably Jontron was the pain in the ass one. I mean, Jontron's incredibly lazy. Like he almost never wants to put out videos, so that was probably another issue, was trying to get him into the fucking recording office all the time. Or wherever they were recording at the time. I think they were actually just recording at Aaron's house or John's house at the time.
Probably.
But, where now they have an office. But, like, it was probably a pain in the ass to get him to fucking record because, you know, he's just never... Like, the one thing that we kept making fun of back during the Jontron era is the fact that they never completed a game, except for, I think, Mega Man 7 that I think Aaron was playing. And that was, like, the only game... I don't even think they completed Blue Troop, or did they? I don't... But whatever, it doesn't matter. They barely completed anything. And then the second Danny took over, they just started completing things. They don't always complete everything they play, but the ratio is much higher now.
I'll be honest, like I don't think I've ever mentioned before, the thing that got me to stop watching Game Grumps was the Sonic 06 playthrough.
Oh god, yeah, that was fucking atrocious.
Where it's like, yeah, the game is buggy and broken and garbage, but a lot of the things you're complaining about are not the game's fault, they're your faults.
So, Aaron has this problem in general where he doesn't like to read things, and Jontron has the same issue. And because of that, they end up making the same mistakes over and over again. And, it's just kind of really irritating. Like, Sonic 06 is a bad game, and it's one of those games on my list of things I want to do before I stop recording videos. But I was also annoyed that I'm sitting there defending the game because the thing that they're complaining about, the game explained to them. Like, that game is terrible. You can make fun of it all day long. But, come on. Don't make me defend it.
That's the point, is that they were basically complaining about one of the things of the game that wasn't broken. It was just because they didn't understand. They refused to read and understand. And, like, there are so much other things you can complain about. Like the fact that you could just click through the floor for no reason.
Yeah. There is so much to just rip on in that game.
Or Silver and his infinite loop that he can
it's no use!
very easily lock you into, and the only way out is just to fucking quit.
Honestly, there's a good chance that whenever I do record that I'm probably gonna get stuck on Silver for a while. And I'm fully expecting that. In fact, I'd be slightly disappointed if it didn't happen at least once.
Oh, and then the other, like, sort of semi-notable YouTube breakup that I remember was, you ever heard of Your Movie Sucks?
I've... is that... I'm not sure. Sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
It's basically just a guy who does, classic Matt talks about movies, how they suck, and blah, blah, blah. Because he did Game Channel and he got his friend in as like also hired him as his editor, and there was like a kind of behind the scenes thing where the editor wasn't doing quite as much, wasn't doing the work he should have been doing. And so one day, the main guy, just suddenly said on stream that his friend was fired, and that was the first his friend had heard of that.
That's not a good way to handle a fire.
Yeah. So that became a whole thing, and well, I mean, yeah, except the editor guy should have definitely done his work, but like that's.
But that's not how you handle it.
Not
like,
if you're in a business. Well, try and be taken seriously.
We don't know everything behind the scenes, but first, if you didn't talk to the guy at all, you should have talked to him.
He did not.
And I'm going to assume with how he fired him, he probably never even told him, like, hey, you're not doing the work you're supposed to be doing. Which, by the way, if you have an employee and they're not doing what they need to do, you want to tell them this because they're just going to keep doing the thing that they're just going to keep doing that thing that pisses you off or that you don't want them to do because you're not going to yell at them. They're just going to keep doing it. Like when you have that employee who's being fucking lazy and they're going to keep being lazy until like a boss says, "Hey, work, asshole."
Or I guess,
but not like that. But you know what I mean. Like not exactly those words, but.
Or I guess you get the other situation if they don't have breakups, like Rooster Teeth, where like half of the people there still clearly don't want to work, don't want to be there, or don't want to be involved in what the company's doing. Like Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he has to stay because, well,
he's one of the founders.
Yeah. I mean, we've bitched about Rooster Teeth before.
Yeah, we poked at them many times. But, the reason I say I'm not surprised about Matt and Pat is because Matt just would purposely go out of his way to antagonize Pat, so I'm kind of not surprised.
They didn't go into specifics about if there was any incident, they just said that for a while they hadn't been friends, and they just thought it was better to end it and just focus on their solo stuff.
That's a good idea. That's honestly, yeah,
pretending
that's a good idea.
Like the podcast and stuff.
I think that was that's a good, mature way to handle it. I'm not used to this.
The news was mostly delivered by Wooly though, so lots of salt.
Well, yeah, Wooly's kind of like probably friends with both of them.
He is
so
the liar,
like...
as well as getting at. Remember that children's book?
Oh yeah,
it was a children's book, so you have to believe.
What if he didn't actually? What if they didn't actually break up because they weren't friends, but actually one of them is dead and Wooly killed them?
That would be interesting. And stole their skit. That's where Liam went.
I forgot Liam was a thing.
But yeah, so they've broken up. Which it's kind of bizarre to think that that was 9 years ago they started.
Yeah, but honestly, like from what you're telling me, it's like this is like the first internet group breakup where there's not like a bunch of baggage or drama. It's like two adults being like, we should probably stop. All right, let's stop. And then they did. I'm not used to this. I'm used to like the shitty E-drama crap.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm just so used to like the E-drama crap.
I mean, you want public. We kind of want public falling outs, like Tig levels of shit just hits the fan.
God, Tig was such a fucking disaster piece.
I know, and it just kept coming.
It kept coming like Bethesda fuck-ups.
Well, at least they didn't.
By the way, you know they have loot boxes in 76 now, right?
I'm somehow not surprised. They're going to have a hell of a time if the FTC does decide that loot boxes are gambling, which, I mean,
yeah,
they probably will
but
at this point.
I think it's funny they did that. By the way, they called them lunch boxes. I would be surprised if it wasn't Bethesda, because any other company is like, except for like EA, is like, let's try to avoid doing loot boxes for now. But then Bethesda's like, okay, we need to do all the shitty trends that were from like a year ago, because we're always behind on the trends. Alright. Survival game. Alright, check. Okay. What else was a trend that's out of date and people don't like anymore? Loot boxes. There we go. I'm just surprised that so far, I'm just wondering, like, what's next? What are they gonna do next? That's become my enjoyment from 76. What is Bethesda going to do next? What fuck up are they going to do
Battle
next?
Royale mode.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm counting on it.
Wait, no, not yet. They gotta wait a year for that because next year when the arena shooter has kind of lost its luster, they'll jump onto the arena shooter thing. Maybe they'll make like an Elder Scrolls arena game. Because I mean, they also jumped on the MMO bandwagon really late with the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
MMO.
that was like a decade too late.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of want like big companies really should not. It's so like the MMO game's so hard to like get into and to get the money's worth out. Like not every so few games are going to hit that like kind of World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14
yeah
player base. And
it's really hard to do that because you got to make a game. You actually have to make a decent fucking game that does something unique in order to get people into it. Because if the game ends up being shallow, what'll happen is you might get some people to try it out, and then they'll get bored, and they'll leave, and then there goes your money. And MMOs are super expensive to make.
And to run.
Bless you. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, video games in general are fucking expensive, but, like, MMOs are real expensive.
The main problem with, like, MMOs and trying to run them, though, is that, you kind of need it to also be a concept that's like mass marketable, I feel, because like a large majority of the players are not in the West, are they?
For MMOs, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure like MMOs are not like a bigger deal in like Asian territories. Not to say that like they don't have obviously.
I really don't know. I don't really give a shit about MMOs. So I really wouldn't be able to tell you where they're more popular.
I don't think I've ever played an MMO in my life, and I never intend to.
But yeah, I have no fucking idea. I mean, I played the DC one for a little bit. I had some fun with it, then I was done with it. Like I played it for a little. I think I tried Warcraft and I got bored of it like real fast. But,
so here's a question for you.
Really... Okay.
So remember way back at EVO 2018? This year.
Oh yeah.
And like
the one everyone was mad because Sonic Fox won.
Well, less so much that, and how like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was not on the bracket, which would have made sense, except then it also wasn't on the bracket for the Capcom Cup this year. Capcom Cup also this year. So here's the question: do you think there'll be we'll get like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Plus next year?
There are rumors of a Marvel vs. Capcom 4. I think we talked about it already.
Possibly.
Which will probably use a lot of the assets from this
Rather
one.
than not.
But honestly, if they don't touch up the presentation or the visuals, it's not gonna do
I was
well.
gonna say, I feel like
But what they're gonna do right away in the first trailer is show off Wolverine and be like, "He's back! He's back! We got the X-Men are back! Remember those things that nobody remembers?"
no one knows who Magneto is.
I like how they said that. I like how what was his fucking name? He's back with Capcom again, I think. The guy who... it wasn't Killian, it was somebody else. Because Killian left before Marvel vs. Capcom. He left after Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
What was his name? He was the guy who really liked Spencer. But that was going to be the gag, is he looked at us straight in the face, said that, while Spencer from fucking the shitty Bionic Commando game... Actually, if I'm going to be honest with you, none of the Bionic Commando games are good. But, the shitty one, I'll put that in quotations.
At least his wife was also his arm. It's, like, really useful.
But yeah, seriously, Bionic Commando sucks. So, the way... Have you ever played it? I'm curious, the original one, not the...
I have not, no.
Okay, so it's an NES game, which only has 2 buttons, so the way it controls is... One button is to shoot like a gun, and the other button is to shoot a grappling hook. So you can't jump normally, and it just feels awkward.
I knew you couldn't jump.
Yeah, it feels really, really
I'm pretty sure
awkward.
not being able to jump is just standard for Bionic Commando games, from what I remember. I don't think you could jump in.
Probably, Oh, and which one can
I
you
said
jump?
I don't think you can jump in Rearmed.
I never played it.
I watched people play
I
it.
only ever played the original. I only ever played the original one, and I was just like, wow, I get the gimmick, but it sucks. If you want to play a grappling hook game that's better, I got one for you, Grapple Force Arena, because you can jump normally too. It has better swinging
Just
physics.
played Just Cause 2.
I mean, yeah, but I was talking about like a 2D game, like just to make fun of the NES one. Just Cause 2 is a good replacement for the 3D one. But yeah, I think that they're gonna make another one, and they're gonna advertise very heavily that like Wolverine and Magneto and X characters are gonna be in it. Like they're gonna go real hard on that to be like, hey, look, the X-Men are back, because Marvel's going big on the X-Men, because next year for their Marvel line, they have yet another line of X-Men figures coming out.
Yeah.
So, like, they're going big on it because we all know the X-Men are super popular. In fact, I've always been more of an X-Men guy than an Avengers guy, so that's kind of like good news for me, I guess. Though I'm still like, Disney's a monopoly, this needs to stop.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, yeah, obviously Disney does need to be stopped with its insane, like, grip on culture, but...
Yeah.
It's kind of that, I feel once Avengers 4 comes out, it's gonna start a superhero crash.
We'll see.
I mean, okay,
I mean, there's gonna be a crash.
Scrambling for Justice League anymore, right? So Justice League's out. All the people who were like the Avengers are mostly going to be done at that point. Like, yeah, Spider-Man. Oh, spoilers! Spider-Man's going to come back because he's got another movie with
everyone. Well, I mean, we talked about this before. Everyone who got snapped is going to come back.
Yes.
And then Tony Stark's going to die because Peter Parker needs his new Uncle Ben because they made him his Uncle Ben.
So what I'm getting at though is that kind of I feel once you get past that Avengers hype, then like Guardians 3 is dead.
Yeah.
And I don't really think people care that much for Homecoming. Basically, the only thing I've ever really heard, the only thing people have ever really been able to tell me about it is, oh, but it's better than Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's like, not good enough, I'm afraid. I need better. I need Spider-Man, not...
I have a sneaking suspicion it won't be better than that one.
I mean, they chose fucking Mysterio as their primary villain.
I mean, Mysterio is good.
Mysterio is a joke. That's why he's amazing, but he's not a good movie villain. Like, okay, so think of Mysterio, right? He, like, works for that initial setup where it's like, oh, look, how's this guy? He's a wizard. He's got all these magical tricks. And that's, like, good for a comic book or, like, episode of a cartoon. So you can set all this up. But, like, for a movie, you're really going to, like, try and sell us that really going to try and sell us that, oh, he's super magical, and then be like, haha, no, it's just Hollywood special effects. Like,
I mean, they used the Vulture in the last movie.
Hmm?
They used the Vulture for... Wasn't the Vulture in the last movie?
But at least Vulture generally has, like, goals and stuff. It's still a bad, like, choice. But I can at least somewhat understand Vulture. As opposed to, like, Mysterio, who, like... Mysterio's only good if he's, like, basically got the rest of the Sinister Six backing him up.
Clearly what we need to do is team him up with Shocker.
No, Shocker was in Homecoming, apparently. As was a guy who calls himself the Scorpion. But wasn't a... Like, Scorpion would be a good villain.
Yeah, Scorpion would be good.
And then just do the usual, it's like an anti, superhero device.
The weird... So the thing with Spider-Man villains is a lot of them aren't really good for movies.
Well, it's because, like I've said, they explained this before, because Spider-Man was the huge property with, like, 1 billion books. Every time Marvel writer would think of a new villain, they debut him against Spider-Man because it's the easiest way to get as many people as possible to see that villain in action. It's the same thing with Batman. That's the only reason why his rogues gallery is as big as it is.
But what I mean is, like, Spider-Man's villains in general, like, other than a few exceptions, they're kind of like villain of the day kind of antagonists, to be honest.
Yeah, they work better as like cartoons or like cartoons or comic books where you can do these kind of where months or episodes or issues can pass and be like, oh hey, remember Mysterio?
Yeah, Spider-Man's better for like either having multiple villains around or just episodic stuff.
He's got big villains, but it's just the problem is that most of those big...
There's not many
most
of
of those big villains have already been done, so it's like Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and like... And you can't do Venom.
Yeah, you can't do the symbiotes, like, right now, so...
And it's like, then what? You're gonna do... You can't... Like, no one in their right mind is ever gonna go for the Clone Saga, so Jackal's out.
No one wants the Jackal.
And then what else are you fucking left with? Stiltman?
Stiltman? We both went for Stiltman at the same time.
Kingpin, but Kingpin's been done in like so many other things at this point.
Yeah.
Fucking Tombstone, who is a black man whose power is that he's got white privilege. Am I wrong?
No. But yeah, that's the thing is Spider-Man himself is a really good character, but like his rogues gallery is fairly middling.
Yes. They're very kind of ensemble cast. That's why they work great in like video games, because they can be like, oh, Shocker's robbing the bank, gotta go put a stop to that. Oh, Vulture's robbing the jewelry store, I can go put a stop to that.
Yes, actually, you're right. That's why Spider-Man always is, like, out of all the superheroes, in my opinion, has the highest chance of having a good video game, is that he lends himself really well to video games, like treating each villain as a level.
Plus, there's just a very kind of down-to-earth feel to it. It's not, like, ever having to, like, with like, Superman, you have to, like, go big, because there's no, like... People will think of it as a waste if like Superman just flies over to stop like Toyman from holding up a toy store. Right. I know Toyman doesn't actually rob toy stores, but
I know. I'm not gonna be fucking like go that level nerd.
Maybe he fucking should though.
Maybe, but yeah, it's just he's really good for video games. A lot of other characters are really hard for video games. Like Superman's probably the hardest one to put into a video game.
I think it's just because a lot of Superman, there's not the people don't want to expend the effort that it's going to take. Like Batman, like
Superman. We talked about it before. Superman is one of the hardest characters to write for.
He's actually surprised. I don't think he actually is. I think it just people don't care enough to want to learn or want to.
What I mean is, like, okay, so when you write Superman versus, like, if you write Batman, is you have to consider, in order to give him an actual challenge, you have to consider his personality, his flaws, his morality, and use those as ways to dampen him outside of just get the green rock in order to make it interesting. Where, like, a character like Batman, you just, here, just throw a couple thugs at him. There you go. People are already compelled because he's fighting thugs.
Yeah. But
it's not that it's, like, hard, it's just, like, compared to other heroes, he's, like, one of the hardest ones because of his power set. You can do it. There's some really amazing Superman stories. It's just a lot of people don't want to put the effort into doing it and just want to do another Batman comic of him chasing the Joker around for the 4,000th time.
I do think probably the hardest actual one to do might be Green Lantern.
It depends on which Green Lantern
it's more so because his power set is so, like,
limitless.
Like, it's kind of like, well, yeah, where exactly do you reach that point where...
Like, the way you have to write a Green Lantern is you have to think... So you have to use your imagination to think of the imagination of the character that's in the comic book right now. Because their power is based on not only their will, but their imagination.
Mm.
So that makes him a lot more difficult. Well, it depends on which Green Lantern we're talking about. Guy Gardner is the easiest fucking Green Lantern to write.
Yeah, he just makes fists and hammers and shit.
But that's okay. I love him.
I don't think Guy is...
Actually, what's funny...
Guy is never going to be in danger of being the star of his own video game.
Nah. The closest he got was being playable in the Batman Beyond game.
Everyone loves Guy. I mean...
Not Batman Beyond. Batman Brave and the Bold, my bad.
Just because he was the designated Green Lantern representative. Yeah, how...
Well, yeah, they used him in Brave and the Bold versus the other ones.
This is how I genocide Jordan.
Hal is the hardest one because Hal is so milquetoast.
I was going to say, because Hal has no personality to write.
Because, like, let's see here, Kyle Rayner is a engineer, so you can work off of that, and Jon Stewart is a Marine, so you can work off of that, and Hal Jordan is just so fucking bland.
Well, a lot of Kyle is also, he's young, so they play off the fact that he's, like, not a kid, but he's younger than most other Green Lanterns who are, you know, normal, like, not middle-aged, but sort of classic superhero aged. Like,
which is usually, like, late 20s, early 30s.
Kyle is, like, late teens, early 20s, I think.
He's at least college age or older.
He's at least college age. He's not, like...
Out of them, he's definitely the youngest
He's not
one.
a kid soldier, not a kid superhero, but yeah. He's definitely the youngest of the...
He's not quite a teen, but yeah, he's the youngest of the main Earth lanterns. The youngest lantern would probably be Arithia.
Plus also...
Even if we don't count the fact that she was aged up by that fucking ring and that was all fucking weird.
Plus also Green Lantern has like 3 known about villains.
Yeah, there's let's see here, the Anti-Monitor,
Sinestro,
and I'm forgetting his name, but the Red Lantern
Atrocitus.
Atrocitus,
And then maybe you can bullshit Star Sapphire if you want.
Star Sapphire is one of those characters that zigzags back and forth. Sometimes she's evil, sometimes she's good, sometimes she's somewhere in the middle. She's one of those.
All you need to know is love makes you crazy.
Yes.
And that's her whole shtick.
Star Sapphire, and then later the Star Sapphire became its own thing, where there's a whole tour of them that are all women but one. I think there's like one dude.
I like how they make. I like how Wonder Woman
that's a whole
was a Star Sapphire. And it's like, really? Diana doesn't seem like she's that full of love.
She is. It's just modern writing kind of just makes her a bitch for some reason.
Not even that. It just doesn't seem like love is necessarily the like. I see her more as like kind of willpower. I'd see her more as like the Green Lantern just because she has willpower.
Well, she's also what was considered the Avatar charity because she did a lot of charity work and shit. But like. That was more non-modern, where modern makes her more like a hard ass for some reason.
I mean,
it's one of those issues where a character had like an attribute of their personality people just forgot about or don't use. How people kind of like how people forget that Peter Parker's a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what the modern Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man is. They forget that he's a genius and built his own shit.
Don't worry, because Tony Stark's got a spider suit just there for him.
It's okay, because they'll probably do something stupid, like have, I don't know, Nick Fury give him a new spider suit.
I mean, you just described the plot of Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. I can't wait till he teams up with teenage Luke Cage and teenage Danny Rand and teenage Ryan Richter. Is it Ryan Richter?
I don't
The fucking Nova, the shit one.
I don't give a shit about
No
Nova.
one does, but they definitely. But like the first Nova was tolerable, and the second Nova was insufferable.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I mean,
Like,
Nova's,
honestly, like
Nova's just a hardcore Green Lantern ripoff.
When it comes to characters in comics, Nova is one of those ones that, in general, I just have a giant question mark because I didn't give a shit about, so I know dick all about them.
As I said, if you like, you know vaguely what the Green Lanterns are about. That's basically.
I mean, yeah. I know they're a Green Lantern ripoff. I know that.
It's okay though. DC's not doing anything with the Green Lanterns, so I guess Marvel is free.
To be fair, both companies ripped each other off
Oh,
repeatedly.
for sure. Hawkeye is just
So,
the Green
like-
Arrow.
Yeah. Like, actually, yeah, he was an antagonist, and then when Green Arrow came around, they were like, we need an Arrow hero, and then they looked at Hawkeye, who nobody cared about, and were like, you're a hero now.
I remember when Iron Man hit big, and then suddenly DC's got Steel.
Yeah, and now even more so with the current Blue Beetle suit.
Yeah.
Then there's the whole Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson thing.
But that's just Liefeld being a plagiarist.
Yeah, well, that's not surprising. There's literally a character in one of Liefeld's book that just looks like blonde Jubilee, and it was probably the funniest thing to me.
Oh, we can't forget the best fucking Flash ripoff. The Whizzer.
A Quicksilver?
The Whizzer.
The other one.
Fucking the Whizzer.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be Quicksilver. I forgot about the
I mean, you
wizard.
should. He's awful.
He's got a funny name,
It's
though.
like Christ. I know it was the 40s, but fuck.
Fear villains, for I am the wizard!
Oh no.
I will whiz past you at blinding speed!
Well, use a special move when he gets in Marvel vs. Capcom. It's just the golden shower.
But yeah, there's a lot of just weird shit, like weird, like fucking failed comic characters like that.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Well, there's all like, it even happens. Remember the Patriot?
I forgot about him, but I remember him now.
Now you do. There should just be like this fit. There should just be like a bar for the forgotten heroes and villains of old.
I remember he showed up in the one Marvel vs. Capcom game as one of those random assists you could get.
One of my favorite lost villains is at one time Iron Man battled Doctor Strange. It was an old Asian dude called Doctor Strange who he battled.
Oh, I didn't even know about
this is like way back in like early days before, you know, both Hugo and Steven were a thing.
Right.
Was it?
Well, also another thing, early comics, with more so with DC, is a lot of them were acquired from smaller companies, like Captain Marvel / Shazam.
Yeah.
Actually, interesting note. You probably already know this, but just for the audience, there was a time Captain Marvel, or I'll just say Shazam for just to make it easier to understand. He was actually more popular than Superman at a point.
Yeah.
In fact, he has the first superhero movie. It's I know that, I know you know this, but like for the audience, I know it might sound weird, but it's true. And yet he didn't have another movie until, well, we're gonna get that one soon. which I'm more interested in than the other Captain Marvel movie, but we've already talked about that.
I mean, yeah, there's not much more to say other than it don't look good. Like, oh, did you see that?
I do agree that there's going to be a crash for it soon, because that always happens with trends. You know, there's like one that Hollywood gets behind, and they keep doing it, and then eventually it dies off, and they become a little bit less common. So it'll probably happen when the next big thing happens, like whatever that'll be. I don't know what
I
yet.
hope Godzilla versus. I hope King of the Monsters will do it.
I don't think
I
we're
want
gonna
my
have,
kaiju trend, damn it.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Why not?
Pacific Rim 2 was bad.
So it's like
they haven't been consistently good enough yet.
oh no, 2 out of 3 is not bad. Actually, no, it's 3 out of 4 so far have been good.
That's true.
It's like
But
that's
maybe
a better
we'll
record
see.
than DC's got.
That's not hard. Come on, I'm pretty sure if you, me, and like a handful of other people have tried for like a weekend, we could probably get a better track record than DC.
I mean, all you need to do is like make a functional movie and then not have to like spend millions of dollars to digitally alter a mustache.
All you have to do is not hire either Zack Snyder or Joss Whedon. That's all you have to do. Just don't hire them. If they even show up, bless you. If they even show up to the building, if they even walk by, just have them escorted off the premises. Don't let them near your script. Don't let them near your performers. Just keep them away.
So this is why if we had a kaiju trend, it's perfect because there's no way in hell Joss Whedon would touch a kaiju movie.
You just make. Oh yeah, you're right. He only likes small.
Well, he'd
women.
have like
I couldn't even. I was gonna make a giant woman joke, and I was like, wait, no, he only likes tiny petite women.
And there's no way in hell he'd ever be able to justify. And this is the part where like the 4-foot woman manages to beat up the 500-foot lizard.
Black Widow.
Yeah, there's no way Black Widow could ever take Godzilla.
No, I'm just saying, Joss Whedon, Black Widow, how she was just kind of like somehow like really powerful when she isn't. Black Widow's kind of shit, actually.
I mean, she's just a spot. The problem is just that she's like most things, in that she's just a normal person who's like somehow expected to be dealing with the exact same problems as a literal god.
And people with like super armor and shit.
All these other people, it makes sense like why they are here and doing these things. With Black Widow, it's like she's a spy.
And she's not exactly a frontliner. She's someone you send in while the heroes are like punching shit to like sabotage equipment and crap, or get information.
It's like, it's kind of the same problem. That's why everyone just like thinks Hawkeye's lame. I mean, aside from that, he is lame, but that's only because his character's stupid. And I say this as like against comic Hawkeye, not Jeremy Renner. He does his job. I like him.
Oh no, comic Hawkeye is stupid. I kind of had a feeling you were getting about the comics.
Because remember, Hawkeye was like, "I'm Ronin now. I've gone full weeb."
I forgot about that. God.
I mean,
comic books are fucking dumb.
And
speaking of dumb, and speaking of dumb retcons, did you hear about the Iceman one?
Oh God, no!
They're putting him back in the closet.
Oh, he's not gay anymore.
In order to fix things with the timeline, he is sacrificing periods of his life, so he gets to relive the periods of his life where he's in the closet again.
Oh, so we're just one more day in this, are we?
Yep.
Yay!
Because let's have the gay guy go back in the closet, because that's good. I want to ask. I need to look up who the fuck came up with this idea, because I want to see if it's the same guy that made Nazi Magneto and Nazi Captain. Because if it is, I think we should probably put a pillow over this guy's face. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Like make his own grave. Speaking of like
that's so dumb. Even Bendis is like, ugh.
Bendis is like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for like ruining relationships, but could you at least have done it to someone relevant? I hear Jean Grey might have potentially like a happy existence. Let's fix that.
What? A female character with a happy existence? Not if this giant refrigerator can stop that!
Just like, you can just see like Cassandra Cain is up there being Batgirl and enjoying things, then refrigerator. Now she's evil.
Bendis is the walking refrigerator man. Oh yeah, he's doing the new Young Justice comic. I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine right up until
he puts Wonder Girl in the fridge.
That or they'll go for Miss Martian.
I didn't see Miss Martian in the lineup.
I just assumed she would be because of the Young Justice.
Yeah, usually. I don't know. So I know some of the ones for it. Like when I was looking at the image, and there's like another girl there, and I don't know who the fuck she is, and I'm like, who's that? And then there's Wonder Girl who now has a leather jacket, which I think is cool. Which I looked at that and I was like, oh, so how long before he puts her in the fridge?
I mean, she's got a jacket. She's all ready for the cold temperatures. Oh yeah. You see
Bendis, when will you fucking go away?
Never.
Probably. Why does he keep getting work?
Because even when he's like doing bad things, his books are technically selling.
Why are they selling?
Because people buy it out of outrage.
I don't buy books I don't like.
You don't, other people do.
I see Bendis is on a book, and I just avoid it like the plague, even if it has characters I like in it. If I see a book I don't like, I just don't pay for it. Why are these people buying this shit? That just tells them to keep funding it. I don't understand this.
They do it because they're doing it because they have to see for themselves like how bad it could be. They must know, and that's kind of the whole point. So, like, the Captain America is a Nazi issue, and the Superior Spider-Man issues all like sell really well, and then the issues after that fucking bomb because they intentionally they know that that's going to happen. They know it's going to cause all these problems, but they're doing it precisely so they can get that initial boost and then say, "Hey, look, guys, we've got a new storyline for you movie peoples to work on."
What's really dumb about it is they're just like alienating more of their existing audience and not bringing in new people. So it's a really dumb idea.
Yeah, but comics aren't built to make money anymore. Comics are built to make material for other things to make money. Like, you don't really give a shit if like people who buy the books enjoy them, as long as that keeps like Spider-Man in the pocket.
I don't know, they try to copy the trends or what movies are doing too, because guess what? They're doing another Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, but that's just cross promotion. Hey, look, you can see in the comic. Hey, look, the movies are all about the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos and all that jazz. Now you can see it for yourself. I mean, never mind that it's like 10 times more bullshit.
The comic version?
Oh, yeah, sure. 100% isn't going to be stupider.
Oh, yeah. It always is these days.
It's just, I don't know. At least we don't have to worry about Japanese comics being stupid. Oh, wait, no, Dragon Ball's still going. My bad.
But Dragon Ball Super was the best one in the series.
I mean, whoever tells you that is a liar.
There's a lot of people that try to tell you how it was great, and they get really... I find Super... Like, so I enjoyed Super, but, like, I find Super fans really fucking annoying.
The problem is Super is just a meme series. Like, it boils everything down to, like, essentially everything you expect from Dragon Ball. So, like, new transformations up the wazoo, and...
Yeah, literally, there's a new transformation, like, every 5 seconds. Like, we talked about that back when we did Fighter Z.
Consequences super don't matter, because the Dragon Balls can just be found.
The stakes in Super are, like, non-existent.
Yeah.
Because they constantly just... There was only 2 parts that had stakes. And if we're going to count the movies, too, because the movie version of Battle of the Gods is better. There's only stakes there and Zamasu.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 parts. You could rewrite Tournament of Power to give it stakes, and it wouldn't take all that much. But that's not what we got.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta talk about what we have, not what we could have had. And so, I know I've mentioned before that I kind of like GT better because it did a better job with stakes and everything like that and tension. Now, a lot of people get mad because Goku was the one who did most everything, but I mean, that's kind of
exactly
super too, where they occasionally throw a bone. Except for they occasionally just throw a bone at one of the other characters randomly.
It's mostly just the same,
and I'm actually more annoyed by Super because they retreaded Vegeta's development. They retreaded Gohan's development from the Buu arc, both for the both. Yeah. I mean, and it deludes them. I would rather, and I think I might have mentioned this in Fighter Z. I would rather Gohan just be retired than going through the whole arc that he went through already as a character. I would rather him just be retired and being a family man than, like, let's just retread and not do anything with him and just do the same shit. Yeah. Like, at least he's got an ending. I'm fine with him either being a fighter or being on the sideline, but you gotta pick one. Don't just repeatedly retread that same development. And
also, like, if you are gonna... The point is, if you are gonna, like, have him be a fighter, then kind of have him be a fighter, you know?
Yeah.
Because... You could, yeah, Tournament of Power had like 1 or 2 cool fights for everyone but Tien.
Yeah, same thing with the manga had a little bit more for people, but like, except for Tien, that guy just was like, I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now and have him get slapped out of the ring by Frost.
But like, the problem is that still the vast majority of the focus is on Goku and to a lesser extent Vegeta.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Vegeta got less focus in GT than this.
Gohan and Piccolo spend the vast majority of their time just fighting those fucking Namekians.
Yeah.
And it's like, no one expects Namekians to do anything. And they didn't. Even the entirety of the Namekian race proved they couldn't do anything.
Because they're not Goku.
They're not super enough. And it's obviously always been a problem with Dragon Ball, where it's like, yeah, all this like interesting cast of characters, but it's...
Oh, there's a lot of... So, an issue in Dragon Ball is literally... So there'll be a point where another character will get like a power-up or what have you, and they'll make a big deal about it, and then it goes nowhere. Because I remember some people were complaining about, like, they're like, oh, here's why GT was the worst one, because of Maju. They built it up and then did nothing with it. And I'm like, that's Dragon Ball as a whole.
Yeah.
That's an issue with Dragon Ball, where they constantly do that. I would wish I couldn't. I wish I could.
Remember how they built up Gotenks and what became of that?
Honestly, I'm okay with it because Gotenks.
But it's the exact same thing. Or Trunk. Yeah. Fucking Future Trunk is probably the worst one.
Oh yeah, they threw him aside so fast. It's actually really funny.
Here's a guy who could beat Frieza in one move. And then that's the
then he just immediately gets warped.
That's the last thing he ever did until Super.
Let's see here. Vegeta beats the android that was beating the shit out of Goku. And then he gets jobbed.
Yeah, that's it.
Piccolo gets his new form. It's stronger than the androids.
Except
he beats the shit out of Cell. Cell escapes, and then he gets jobbed. Well, no, then he gets a cool fight with 17, and then he gets jobbed.
And then the jobs.
The warping, if you will.
The Piccoloing.
Or the Yamchaing, because actually the warp thing started with Yamcha.
Yeah, but the difference is Yamcha never actually did anything. Like, to warp.
He only ever... he actually, no, he beat the Rabbit King. The strongest villain in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, Piccolo actually beat the Rabbit King and blew up the moon. Well, actually, Roshi did it first.
Then Roshi killed him. Well, he was defeated, he was just stuck on the moon.
Good old Roshi. Confirmed stronger than Tien.
Because for no reason.
Because he beat beat 4 people like solo in Tournament of Power.
I think it's funny that people bitch about like, was it the Kefla form giving Goku so much trouble? And I'm like, motherfucker, Roshi.
Yeah. It's like
17, motherfucking 17 was literally just sitting on an island watching animals, and then suddenly he can beat up Blue Goku. He couldn't beat up like imperfect Cell, and motherfucker now can punch out a god. Like, get the fuck out.
But it's okay, because, you know, it's bizarre, even though Goku and Vegeta do nothing but spend their time training, spend all of their free time training, Like the 7-year gap in between between Cell and Boo is literally just Goku and Vegeta doing nothing but training. Because Vegeta clearly didn't even spend time fucking because he didn't have a second kid.
So I'm going. So like, I don't like playing this card, but I'm going to against the people that bitched about like the whole Kefla thing with her fighting Goku. These people specifically. These people also don't complain about the things I just mentioned. They don't complain about Gotenks. They're okay with that. And usually they emphasize saying chick repeatedly. I shouldn't pull the sexist card, but I'm just saying. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's fair enough, because, like, there's so many other characters. I mean, fucking Frieza is the worst one.
Oh yeah, trained for, what was it, like a year?
That. It's like
and
3-4 months or something stupid.
He trained for such a short amount of time.
Suddenly he's, like, in the realm of the gods. Like, he's strong in, he's strong in that, theoretically, had he not learned, like, had he learned his golden form a bit more, he would have been able to beat Goku.
Yeah, because its weakness is in the stamina drain.
Just basically Super Saiyan.
Or more like Super Saiyan 3 because of the time limit. Or Ultra Instinct.
The original Super Saiyan had the sort of time limit, and they could have a sort of time limit until they perfected it.
No. The most that they did was they had that whole bit where part of Goku's training was he was staying Super Saiyan for an entire day to, because he said like, oh, it drains a little bit of stamina when you transform, or ki. So they were doing that. Now, it was a mechanic in Xenoverse, in like some of the fighting games, where like your ki would get drained while you transform, but never really came up in the series outside of Super Saiyan 3. And the bulk up form.
It basically only came up as a plot point when it was relevant.
Yeah.
Whenever we needed to explain, like, well, why can't Goku win this fight? Oh, or win right now. Oh, he's stamina drained. I mean, I would have thought the biggest bullshit part of that whole, like, Goku versus Kefla thing is the fact that by fighting, Goku regains stamina. He fight, so he basically, like, crippled because Jiren beats the shit out of him. And then while he's fighting Cauliflower and Kale separately, that's somehow regenerating his stamina enough that he can get back to Super Saiyan God.
It would have made more sense if he stood back for a bit and recovered his health.
Plus, everyone knows. Plus, everyone knows Potara super increases your stats.
Yeah. And also, the other thing I'd point out, too, I mean, this is more deep than Dragon Ball things, but, like, it kind of makes sense that fusion would be deadly, because every other fusion against two people that bicker all the time, and these two are people that actually get along and work together. So it kind of makes sense that the fusion would actually be something useful versus every other fusion.
Think of it this way, so Goten and Trunks don't stand a chance, separately don't stand a chance against Buu at any form of Buu, right? But Gotenks is strong enough to match at least Super Buu. Without Super Saiyan 3, although, like, Goku and Vegeta, every time they, fuse, it's always against the guy who completely ruffle stomps their separate forms, and Vegeta then completely ruffle stomps their enemy. Doesn't even have to try.
And the issue is because since it doesn't give a fuck because of the two personalities, and how they don't really mesh together very well, because of that, they always fuck up.
Well, it's more so that just because it's either we need to drastically say, oh, hey, look, you know how we said 30-minute fusion time or infinite fusion time? We actually meant...
we changed our mind.
It's actually a second.
But remember, GT is the least consistent one, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
You know what's funny? People 17 arc is inconsistent, and I ask them why. They're like, how did Jiro know about Dr. Mew? You guys remember the fucking crystal ball that they were watching everything go down back in the Kid Buu fight? They can see shit going on in the living world, you fucking clowns.
Every scientist knows where scientist lairs are.
So it's where did they get the parts for it? They're literally in the afterworld.
They're in the
Whatever the fuck they want.
Fucking the Dr. Slump villain's probably there. He's got tech.
They're it's not hard to but I think it's why they call these inconsistencies, but they're not inconsistencies. It's just you're not sure how this happened, but also you're an idiot.
But I mean, it's not as if Dragon Ball doesn't have all of the rest of the franchise doesn't have all these exact problems.
In fact, actually, it's harder to find them in GT, which I think is hilarious.
How is it Dr. Shiro,
Like,
who was with the Red Ribbon Army, can just kind of upgrade androids from 8, who is strong, but not like, you know...
Or how, like, Dr. Giro suddenly is a scientist who built them all, even though he was never mentioned before, never brought up, and there were different scientists
And he's
before.
been spending the last, like, you know, 10 years hating Goku.
I think it's longer than 10
Well,
years,
I mean...
yeah. Because Gohan's, like, 11 or 12 in that arc? So, longer than that. Because Goku was, like, about that age when he destroyed the Red Ribbon.
I mean, you think he'd be more pissed at Commander Red, who like got all of these people killed just because he wanted to be taller.
Yeah, but I don't think Toriyama even remembered that. Remember, Toriyama doesn't remember launch.
Remember, Toriyama doesn't remember to draw backgrounds.
That's why he usually has the fights take place in fucking, like, desolate caverns and
That's probably exactly the same reason why Broly is taking place at, like, in the middle of the fucking Arctic.
That's why during the Piccolo Junior and Goku fight, why Piccolo just destroyed the entire arena, because he just didn't want to draw the background anymore. I'm not kidding, that's something that he said. So, like, when we're saying this is from his own mouth. This isn't like us saying, like, hey, we're like, this is what we think Toriyama did. No, this is what he's actually said to us.
He's, like, famously been quoted as saying, I stayed on Namek because they didn't have to draw backgrounds there.
Yeah.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I like about him. He's honest, so... But it's funny how, like, a lot of the fan base will think of, like, these deep reasons, and then you look at actual Toriyama things like, no, I'm lazy, or, oh, I just forgot, or I didn't feel like drawing that.
The problem is that Toriyama is like George Lucas if his fan base actually liked him.
And, you know, he was actually honest, where George Lucas believes his own bullshit.
But I just mean as in, like, specifically, it's got, like, nice ideas and nice sort of visuals, but, like, it definitely needs, like, the secondary force, like, entity.
Yeah, you can see that more. You can see that more with, like, say, the Boo arc and the fucking almost all of Super, to be honest. To the point where even he's like, okay, like with the Broly movie, he's like, all right, I think I need an editor again. Like even he looked at it and was like, okay, this sucks.
I mean, we've still not seen Broly, but
oh yeah, we haven't. But I'm just saying, I know that's what he said at least, and I don't knock him as a liar. He's been too honest. So we don't know if it's gonna be good, but at least he's like, you know, I think I actually need one of those editors. Maybe I was wrong.
He's not even.
Which, you know, which at least makes him better than like Kojima.
True. But
that's what I mean. Like Kojima and Lucas are like the people, and Tim Schafer is that his name?
Which one is he again?
The Psychonauts guy who hasn't made fucking shit in years, because he just never can create anything because he's too busy just bullshitting. Yeah, they're all like the kind of people that you need someone lording over them to direct them. They need someone to keep them on task and to keep them on budget and to keep them from doing stupid things, as we've seen with Metal Gear 5. What happens when you let him off his leash?
Such a lust for revenge.
Give it back! It was ours!
They took it! Bitch!
Get up here! Start talking!
Fight us like a damn fiddle!
I know I mentioned this in text to you yesterday, but like, the soundtrack... So I like Metal Gear soundtrack, except for 5's.
Well, 5's the one where...
5 has the most generic
The problem
music.
is 5 is then also kind of relying on that licensed music they've got now. Like, yeah, I know licensed music, or, like, licensed music has been sort of a thing of Metal Gear, but, like, especially with, like, 5, because they introduced the whole, like, MP3, you know, MP3 player, Walkman thing.
So I end up, like, because I have the computer version, I can put my own music in, I end up just putting my own stuff in just to entertain myself, because the soundtrack that's in the game is just not good. I do like their cover of The Man Who Sold the World, but that's not it. Like, the music in the cutscenes is just so generic movie music. Like, when you think of, like, generic movie strings and shit for scenes, like, like what, especially if you watch the whole destruction of Mother Base in the intro, or or the outro of not Phantom Pain. What was the other one called?
Ground Zeroes.
Ground Zeroes, yeah. It's just so like generic, and it's just. I enjoyed the game, like gameplay wise. The story is rubbish. It's just awful.
It'd be fine if like the story began and ended with Taz's vagina bombs. Like that is a fucking treasure. I will not have.
Snake, there's another in my. I showed a friend of mine who isn't a fan of Metal Gear, because I mentioned this to her, and she's like, what? So I showed her the scene. Now, I skipped the surgery part, because she has this thing where she really doesn't like the whole, like, things going under the skin thing. So I trimmed that out, but either way, that's not the funny part. So basically just when they're holding the bomb and then everything else. And she was laughing the entire time. And so was I, because I also then was like, oh my god, I forgot how fucking awful this is.
Man, it takes.
My favorite part of that scene is when Snake grabs a gun, he like yells, starts running to shoot, and like as he does it, like was it Kaz like Snake, and he shoots for a bit, and then it cuts back to Kaz, who puts his hand out, and then Snake's like, oh okay, I'm gonna go back inside now. And then it was so pointless. It was like within like less than a second of each other.
It was so pointless. Metal Gear 5 in a nutshell.
Yeah, no.
Like
you're right.
It's that game where you just question like, why? What did you make this for? Other than because you wanted to shit on David Hayter.
Yeah.
Rip Hayter.
Just think of how much they probably could have got done if they had a voice actor instead of paying an actor to do, like... To be fair, there's more than 4 minutes of dialogue, because there's also those, like, tape recordings where he talks occasionally in those. So there's at least a bit more than 4 minutes.
That could have just easily been Kiefer Sutherland not even realising you've been recorded.
True. But just think of how much you could have done if you had David Hayter, and how much money you could have put into the game instead if you just had a fucking voice actor.
Big Boss believes in Santa Claus.
Yes.
Canon.
Like, if you were to ask me to cast Snake for that game, and it's supposed to be, like, the in the middle, what I probably would have done, rather than David, though I would have told him, like, hey, I'm not going to have you in this game, I would have got the guy who did Big Boss at the end of 4, and I would have had him do the voice.
That would have made sense.
I probably would have got Liquid's voice, not Liquid, Ocelot's voice actor, but I would have had him try to do like a less raspy version of the voice.
Troy Baker.
So you can kind of like
trying to do the voice he originally wanted to do until Kojima said no.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't do this voice. Don't do an Ocelot voice. Do your voice, Troy Baker. And it's like, but I don't want to be Troy Baker in the moment. I want to be Ocelot.
I want to be the character that I know
Could you
and
at least be Kanji? Could you at least let me be a Kanji? And then just imagine Ocelot saying, Ocelot just saying, you saying I like dudes? Which I guess is basically Ocelot anyway.
I just randomly thought of the meow.
Yeah. Just imagine it. Meow! And then you saying I like dudes.
Fucking hell.
Love you, Troy Baker.
I think like a lot of the actors got that where they're like, if you try to sound like the other voice, fuck you.
I think Kiefer Sutherland was like, please Sutherland Sama, just be in my Vinci game.
You know what I would have done if I really wanted to have Kiefer Sutherland? I would have just had him do a minor villain just so you can be like, hey, look, I got a Hollywood actor in my movie. I mean,
what they should have done is they should have like hyped up the whole thing, and then, they could have just had it so that Hayter or like Big Boss from MGS4 was the voice of Snake, and done like the Igor and Persona 5 thing. Where, haha, you thought we'd replace this VA, but nope, we're gonna milk your sound files forever.
Or what'll probably happen when Charles Martinet dies at Nintendo.
Yeah, that's gonna. I mean, I guess I wonder like how often does he actually need to record any new lines now?
I know there's some newer ones in some of the games, but either way, we're kind of at that point. I'm actually surprised we didn't end up talking about the Smash Brothers thing, where K. Rool is broken, Isabelle infinitely spawns
I mean,
infinite
yeah,
trophies.
those are all things that's going to get patched. It's kind of like Isabelle will definitely get patched. K. Rool, it's just he's aggressively overpowered. But like he'll get nerfed eventually.
From what
Or they'll
I
just
heard,
make Joker.
I mean,
Or
you're
they'll just
telling
make
me.
Joker like amazingly overpowered, like
His
they do with
counter.
Bayonetta, where it's like, aha, tiers list don't matter anymore because you just pay $6 and win the game.
Apparently, 2B is really fucking busted
I'm
in
not
Soul
surprised.
Calibur. I haven't bought the season pass
I
yet,
work
so
on
I
the
don't have her
basis
yet.
that
I'm waiting until after the holidays to
I
buy
work
it.
on the assumption that most like
Which, by the time this comes out, I might own
I
it.
always work on the assumption that most like DLC characters do not get the same amount of 10 like kind of attention. That like not to say they don't work on them, but I think they don't get nearly as much kind of thought goes into overall strings and abilities as our like core characters do. Like they make them.
It depends on the game. So DLC characters usually come in two flavors, at least the most egregious ones. They're either stupid overpowered or stupid underpowered. Yeah. Street Fighter V, like almost every new character is stupid underpowered. Well, that game also heavily leans to you playing defensively and never trying to be aggressive. Oh yeah, that reminds me real quick. Apparently Street Fighter V won't have a season pass this time, so the only way to get the characters is probably individually, which either tells me they aren't going to have as many this year, or they might actually abandon Street Fighter V since it's not really making the money they want, or something else.
It's not like they've got any kind of ad revenue they can get from Street Fighter now.
No, did we talk about that last time? The ad... Oh, yeah, they have ads in the thing now.
Ad costumes, boys.
Ad
so,
costumes.
Hey, remember that anime Tiger and Bunny and how kind of the joke was they were all superheroes who were sponsored by real companies? So, like, main character runs around with battle armor that's sponsored by Amazon, and it's all kind of, haha, look, it's very, look at how commercialized society is becoming. We live in that world now, guys.
Yeah. But I do wonder if anyone's going to take them up on it because of how, because of how the game's not doing too hot.
Sorry, that was my phone. Whoops. Thought I'd put that in silence.
Because, like, the game... The only money they're getting out of is like the esports crowd, and that's really it. And that's such a small audience.
Doesn't the esports crowd like fucking hate the FGC and vice versa? Like, isn't the FGC in fact the complete anti esports because the biggest like event in the FGC calendar is Evo, and Evo is not like big sort of corporate micromanaged event. It's like basically still fan run. Like, yeah, it makes fuck tons of money, but it's nowhere near, like, the organised benefits as many companies as possible events as something like the Overwatch League or...
With a bunch of Doritos advertisements everywhere.
Whereas Evo...
Yeah, no, it's not nearly as crazy. But yeah, no, the two hate each other. This game went full tilt into esports, so it already, like, grabbed a chunk of the audience away from what would normally buy Street Fighter V, because they focused on esports instead. So they lost them, they lost the casual audience, so all they have is this small like group of esports people and some really diehard fans of Street Fighter that are still playing it, and that's really it. It was doomed to fail on paper.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's stop for the day, and we'll see you guys next time. Sabo might be here.
We'll see if Christmas has killed him.
It might have, you never know.
Never forget, Christmas kills more people every year than sharks. That's not like saying Christmas is a very notable killer, it's just sharks don't actually kill that many people.
And with that, have a good day.